This is Andy Perrault for Boxing Social in association with Betfred, and once again I'm delighted to be joined by Matchroom Boxing CEO Frank Smith. Frank, how are you?
I'm good, mate. It's becoming a regular occurrence that you sort of like find me in a room and drag me to a backdrop.
I'm kind of just always in and around each other is the best way to put it, Frank, especially during fight week. Yeah. But I won't try and keep you for too long now. Down here for an undercard press conference, the first time some of these guys would have the chance to eye up their opponents. We'll just work through it before we come on to the big news that broke yesterday, which I know you know that I'm going to bring up.
What happened?
You don't know? Obviously we start off with Callum Smith, Hassan and Dam, getting a little closer to that one now. First time that I've saw them together, and the height difference and naturally the size difference. What did you make of it?
Do you know what? I will be very honest. I was on my laptop doing work at the time. It's a very busy period, but I decided I'm not going to talk about it because I didn't see it. So I know I should see it, but I had to go and do something very quickly. But I do think, as we spoke about yesterday with this fight, I think it's a good fight. You know, Martin Murray isn't a small middleweight who Hassan and Dan just beat. And obviously Callum Smith's much taller. But size doesn't always mean everything in this business, as we found out in many fights.
Can I just ask?
Value of height. Saw that, didn't we?
Some time ago, that one. Can I just ask first, before I do continue, what did you see of your undercard press conference?
I've got to be honest, I had to rush and do a few bits. So I think I had to leave when I heard Eddie start talking. So I saw them all up there though. Yeah. But it was a good, it's great for these guys to be here, these bright lights, which are very bright today, and see, be just this whole big fight feel. We've got so many media outlets here, and I think for some of them it's their first time they've seen something like this. So it's very exciting.
I want to touch on Katie Taylor, Delphine Pursoon. Has it surprised you just how quickly Katie's taken to the professional ranks and her rise towards this undisputed title fight?
No, not at all. I think when you've seen her mindset and just the way she carries herself, she knew she was going to get to this point, and she's worked so hard. I think the hard work is, she takes herself away for her camp and stays on her own basically for that whole camp for like an 8-10 week period. She's so dedicated to the sport that I'm not at all surprised that she's done this in such a short space of time. I actually watched the Katie documentary, which I heard she hasn't actually seen, which was it's an amazing watch as well. So you should tune into that. It's on Netflix.
It's a good little plug there. Tommy Coyle, Chris Algieri, saw them together for the first time today. Very respectful between the pair of them. But what are you expecting come fight night? Is that just one of them which is destined to be a war, or do you think that there's a possibility that it'll be the complete opposite of what everybody's anticipating?
I don't think Tommy Coyle can do the complete opposite of what everyone's not can do. I just think he loves a fight, and great. I mean, that's why fans love him, because he's got that fan-friendly style, and every fight he's in. But I think it's going to be, it's a step up for Tommy as well. Chris has been in there with some great opposition in the past. But, I think Tommy has had the best camp. I've followed it on social media, seen him here. He looks in great shape. He's training hard with Jamie Moore. And they've got a great setup as well. And I think he's overall in a good place. But I can't wait for that fight. Can't wait to see. I think we sort of have an idea of what's going to happen. And now they just need to deliver.
You mentioned that fan-friendly style, but in terms of like life after boxing, how dangerous can it be that people going about punch drunk, etc. That if someone's going to continue to take punches, and if Tommy continues to fight in the manner that he does further down the line, it could have consequences for his health.
I think Tommy's a very sensible guy, and he's got a good team around him, as I said, who care about their fighters. And same for us. He's already set up various businesses. As you see, he's got his Barrow Boys in Hull, he's got his gyms, everything like that. He works, got his foundation. So he's already started looking ahead. But this fight, if he wins this fight, I think, as Eddie said, that's the bit I did hear in the press conference, there's a chance for a world title for the winner of this fight. A world title challenge. So that's the pinnacle of this sport. So I think he's still got years in the game. Whether he looks at it after this, he's got a lot of other things going on in his life, but he's very sensible, as I say. So I think he'll look at it, and he won't. He's not a stupid guy.
Now today we never saw Joshua-Ruiz's opponent in Paraban or Josh Kelly's opponent in Ray Robinson turn up. Any news as to when we will expect them to come down to New York?
They're here tomorrow. Yeah. So
that allows me to move right on to The big news that broke yesterday, Deontay Wilder announcing over social media he's going to rematch Lewis-Ortiz. Your reaction to that when you saw it?
What's the point? He's already beat him once. Why do it again? But, he knows that he's going to have it put on him after the weekend. And he's already seen it in all. Because the question everyone's asking is, when are you going to fight Wilder? When are you going to fight Wilder? And now, people can't really ask that because Wilder's done his own thing as we thought he would. I don't know why he's fighting Ortiz. I don't know what the game plan is. I don't know what the thought process is. But he's done it now. But they obviously hastily did it because they didn't announce a date, didn't announce a venue. It was just, we got to get something out there because otherwise we're going to come under a load of pressure. So,
do you think it was all pre-planned, maybe prior to the Brazil fight, that they'd had negotiations and talks and they knew that was going to be the fight which they wanted to have next?
Maybe they'd had negotiations. Whether it was agreed and signed, I doubt. Because a lot of things can change in this business. I just don't get the mindset. Like, why wouldn't you wait until 3 days? And the only reason he didn't do it because he doesn't want the pressure of that. Why aren't you fighting AJ? So.
Now, obviously, I said to you yesterday that Shelley Finkel's supposed to be in attendance. Does that possibility of him being here become a bit void, knowing that the fight can't be made next?
I'm sure he'll still want to come along. He'll want to see what a real show, sold-out show looks like, won't he?
In terms of AJ then and his next opponent, I know that it's Wilder who's announced Ortiz next, but whoever he fights, unless it's realistically Dillian White, do you think that the British public in particular won't take too kindly to somebody away from probably Dillian, because I don't imagine Tyson Fury fighting in Britain next, and obviously Wilder-Ortiz has just been announced?
Yeah, look, I think another one that was spoken about was he's got his IBF mandatory possibly against the likes of Pulev. Another one that was a possibility being spoken about was Usyk. So, look, we'll see what happens. AJ's got to get through Saturday night. He's got to get through Saturday night's fight, which we believe he will. But it's heavyweight boxing. He's got to do the job Saturday night. He's got to impress. And then it's our job to start looking at futures. But we'll get him back out, and as we always do, we'll plan professionally to keep him busy. But he can only do so, what else do people want him to do? He's offered everyone more than fair offers. Everyone in the heavyweight division. They don't want to take it. Who's at fault? Can only be the other side, can't it? But that's just saying they've got their own plans. They want to do something different. No problem with that, but you can't then blame AJ for not fighting Wilder. Couldn't have done anything more.
When I talk to heavyweights that are up and coming, you look at the likes of Nathan Gorman, Daniel Dubois, etc. They're saying, I always ask them, how do you break into that mould of being a top heavyweight contender, and how do you challenge for a world title? They imagine one day AJ will have to vacate his belts because he'll have too many mandatories or something to deal with. How long do you think, on a timescale point of view, you have to make that undisputed fight against Deontay Wilder before mandatories and the different governing bodies come into play, and you may have to give up one of those belts?
I think we can make it work. Klitschko did it for years. So, and we've done it well. We've done it the right way so far. We've worked with the various sanctioning governing bodies, and we'll continue to do so. But the WBC fight should happen soon. Whether it does, again, it's not. There's only so much we can really push on it. That's what that fight's all about, the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world. And I think these other guys you spoke about there, the way they obviously get there is fighting each other. And props to Nathan Gorman and Daniel Dubois fighting each other. And that's, it's kind of like what AJ and Dillian White did. And that's really where they propelled themselves. They took these big fights early on in their career. And that's what's important. And I think that will help grow the heavyweight division. They're not there yet to fighting him because they don't have the sort of background, they don't have the experience, etc. But in time, they are the big fights in time. There will be big fights 4 or 5 years. We've got to think AJ's going to be around for another 8-10 years. So there's plenty of fights out there for him. But he can't really do any more. I don't think we can do any more. We want to make the biggest fights. But in between, we will make entertaining fights for the fans. It's our job to deliver them.
I spoke to Eddie yesterday, and Eddie said that Tyson Fury had accepted the fight against Dillian Whyte. What is the latest with that?
Nothing yet. He accepted it verbally, obviously on an interview. Not accepted, but he said, "Yeah, I will fight him next." So it's just a case of when the WBC actually send their letters out, we can negotiate, or it goes to purse bids.
Do you think we will see that fight, or do you think in some way one of the teams may manoeuvre away into other avenues?
Dillian Whyte wants that fight. That's the only side we can really talk on behalf of. Dillian Whyte wants that fight. We want to make that fight. It's a huge fight.
What do you make of this? Dillian Whyte, over 500 days as a number one contender with WBC, has fought numerous other top contenders, and now he's got to potentially face Tyson Fury for this mandatory position. What are your thoughts on Dillian's position in and around the elite fighters in the heavyweight division?
Yeah, he's in there. I think there was a post yesterday. He's in the top 4 heavyweights of the business. I don't think he should have to have waited as long as he has, But he's a true fighting man. He will fight anyone. He's up for fighting Tyson Fury. He said it. He's got Oscar Rivas, which is a test on July 20th. Then when he comes through that, he wants a Tyson Fury fight. He shouldn't have to, again, I've said this to you, I think, shouldn't have to fight Tyson Fury to get the shot with Deontay Wilder, because he's done enough. As you say, 500 odd days at number one. He's done enough to get that shot. But, we want to make the biggest fights, and Tyson Fury and Dillian Whyte is a massive night, isn't it?
Well, Frank Smith for the third day on the road, for the third day on the bounce.
No, but you're only going to post 2 of them, because the other one was a bit people kept on disturbing us, didn't they?
You're too famous these days, Frank.
No. People just ask me questions. That's all it is. Not famous.
Frank Smith.
You get so many viewers. You get so many viewers. You made me famous.
Exactly. You get so many viewers because you're on the channel.
No, not me. Actually, I read some of the comments were, "Why are they interviewing this fat fuck Eubanks boyfriend?"
I haven't seen those comments. Are you sure it was on our channel?
It might be. To be honest, they all merge into one. It carries me. I've been to the gym this morning, so it gets me up in the morning.
I look forward to seeing those comments later on then. Frank Smith, as always, thanks for being to Boxing Social.
Thank you, mate.
Cheers, Frank.